Hello everyone. Today we are going to do a quick demo to understand Cloud SQL capabilities of Google GCP. Essentially, what we are going to do in this demo is we'll learn how to import data from CSV file into Cloud SQL system and then carry out some basic data analysis using some simple queries. Uh, in terms of different steps involved, we'll do initial setup and requirements. We'll be preparing our environment. We'll quickly spin up a cloud SQL instance, add our data to Cloud SQL instance, and then check it for some kind of data integrity and do some quick analysis on that. So with that, let's get started. So first and foremost, we have to get our Cloud Shell instance up and running. So if you go here and if you click on Activate Cloud Shell, it would open up your Cloud Shell within the GCP interface. You will see your project ID. This is your GCP defined project ID. You can set project ID to a different name, but and it all depends upon the structure within the organization. Essentially, it starts with organization. You have different project IDs, and then you have different configuration for each project. And you can also have security defined at your organization level, or you can have your security defined at your project ID level. Now, there are times when you want to see what are the authorized list of Google Cloud you have for your project. So you can quickly go in here. You can do this. You can say that, hey, this is the account information. Your account information config is set to account. And in this case, we have owner at quicklabs.net. This is just to get information about whose ID is this, who is the project owner, who has the root access for this project ID within the Google Cloud platform. There are times where, let's say you're maintaining 10 different project IDs within your organization, but you want to check like what is the project ID that you're working on right now. So you can quickly go in, you can write config list project and it would give you project ID information that, hey, this is your specific project ID and these are the different active configuration for your project ID. First thing first, now you have to prepare your environment. You have to set your environment variables so that your project ID and your storage buckets are clearly defined. So to do that, you come here on your Cloud Shell, you enter all this information. Now your project ID and bucket ID is defined. You can also quickly do an echo to check what is the project ID. You see your project ID is one which we had defined in our configuration. Similarly, you can quickly go into echo bucket. Your bucket is also defined and your project ID is defined. So we are good there. Now we will have to go ahead and create a Cloud SQL instance. Cloud SQL instance, essentially, it would take a few minutes to spin up. but let's get that started. It gives you some configuration information about that Cloud SQL instance. Let's give it a few more minutes and it will get started. It would take a few minutes because it is checking available resources and available capacity, and accordingly it would go ahead and spin up a Cloud SQL instance. So let's give it a few more minutes. So now, as you can see here, we have our Cloud SQL instance up and running. It's in the US Central Zone. It's N1 standard tier, and you have IP address for that 104.154.52.75, and it's a MySQL based Cloud SQL instance with version 5.7. Now you'll have to give a root access, create a root password for this SQL instance. And you'll also need to set up environment variable for with the IP address so that you can go in and access it from the Cloud Shell. Now we are setting the root password for the DB instance. It would take a few minutes. We have done the setup for that. Now we'll create environment variable with the IP address of the Cloud Shell. We have done that. Now we have to whitelist this Cloud Shell instance so that we can access the SQL instance, Taxi SQL instance. We'll go ahead and say yes because we want to have access to that IP address. Now we want to make sure that our MySQL environment variable is set properly. So yeah, see, IP address is set for our MySQL instance. Now we can go ahead and we can create a taxi trip. So essentially, we'll connect to the table and then we'll try to create taxi trip table. So let's try to connect to our database. So we'll have to connect to our database. We'll have to have our password here. So let me try to verbose. Will ask me my password. So we are connected to our MySQL database. Now we'll have to create a trip table. So let's come here, type our SQL. We have our query executed, table is created. Now let's go and say, let's go and describe the table. See what do we have here. We'll hide this. So if you see here, these are the fields and these are the type that I have for my trip table. Now let's query this trip table to find pickup location IDs. We don't have pickup location ID thus far. So now let's go ahead and exit from this interface. Okay. Now we have to add data to our Cloud SQL system. So let's go here and we have this thing. So we added data. Now we have data in our Cloud SQL system. Let's try to import the CSVs. So we are trying to import the CSV, PASSWO. There's some error. We added data in there. Now let's connect to MySQL from command line. So here we are trying to connect, and again we'll have to enter our password. So let's enter our password. We are again connected to MySQL table. So now first thing we have to check for data integrity, because we had a lot of CSV file that we are loading into the system. We want to make sure that we have got the accurate data, and we don't have any kind of data discrepancy in the data that we have unloaded onto the system. So quickly go there and check. We'll select. It should give us 159. Okay, so 159, we have this information. Now let's try to get information about trip distance. So now we are trying to get maximum and minimum trip distance. So yeah, so you have maximum distance as 85 and minimum distance as 0. Now again, let's say if you want to find number of trips where the distance was 0, hopefully we'll have, okay, so we have 155 trips there. Let's say find trips where there was a fair amount was negative. So 14, they were like free of cost. We expect fair amount to be positive, but there were 14 trips for which a fair amount was almost negative. Now let's look into payment information and see what is happening here. These are the payment types, and it gives number of trips by that. Okay, so depending upon different payment types, you have different kind of different number of trips. Essentially, what we have here is your payment type refers to credit card use. Your payment type 2 is cash, and payment 4 refers to dispute. So if you look at the data, you for approximately 14,000 trips, you're using your credit card to purchase your tickets. For approximately 6,000 trips, you're paying out of cash, and then for 32 trips, you have some kind of issue going on with the data. So now we'll come here and we'll exit out of this interface. Good. So essentially, the idea of this demo was to demonstrate 4 key objectives. First, we went ahead and we created a Cloud SQL instance. This was based on MySQL version 3.7. We created a cloud database table. So we created trips table. We ingested data from a CSV file into Cloud SQL system. So we pulled data from CSV file, we loaded into our Cloud SQL. And we checked for data integrity, because we wanted to make sure that we are able to pull the data that we have in our CSV file accurately into your Cloud SQL system. So with that, if there are any other questions, I would be more than happy to answer. But thanks a lot for your time. Thank you.